What is going on, everyone? Hope everyone is having a fantastic and immersive day as always. Today we are going to dive right into a topic that I've been seeing kind of jumping around on the internet a lot more frequent, and seeing some devs even talk about a returning franchise, possibly. We are going to be talking about the one and only devious raccoonist Sly Cooper. Now, I myself have grown up with this character, and you know, Sly Cooper was kind of in the era when PlayStation had I feel like 5 big mascots. I mean, there was Jak and Daxter, Spyro, Sly, Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank. Almost forgot that one. And there might be even more that I can't think of, but when you think of old PlayStation era, at least someone who was a gamer or is a gamer has played one of those games. For me, I've played all of them. The one that stuck out the most to me, that resonated with me, and that I still find myself going back to all these years later, is Sly Cooper. It's a timeless game, and the topics coming around that I've been, seeing online have been if he's returning, if we're gonna finally get, Sly 5 after Decent Time left off on a ginormous cliffhanger, if we're gonna get maybe a remake of some sort. And I just kind of want to dive in and talk about the possibilities of the beautiful raccoon actually returning, if it's possible, if I see it not happening, whatever it may be. Honestly though, I do think this is a perfect time to bring him back, if they are going to bring him back. I mean, we've obviously seen Sucker Punch kind of throw a little bit, maybe I don't know if it's a hint or a toss-up to see how many people want which one, but essentially they went into talking about if they're going to either explore and continue on with the Ghost franchise, which obviously Ghost of Yotei just launched recently, and it's doing tremendously well, outselling Ghost of Tsushima, which is incredible. I haven't beaten it myself yet, but I have a decent amount of hours into it, and it is a phenomenal game in every front. Personally, I choose Tsushima, at least from what I've played, I do choose Tsushima more, just because of the story overall and just kind of the impact Tsushima had when it came out and everything. I think it was just a lot bigger, but Yotei is a phenomenal sequel nonetheless, just isn't as impactful and memorable as Tsushima is. But it is a phenomenal game, and they essentially mention if they're going to dive into staying with that or maybe returning to Sly Cooper. Now, of course, there is the infamous franchise which they could return to, but it is interesting how they didn't mention Infamous. It was only Sly as a return or continuing with Ghost. As much as I love the Infamous franchise, I don't know if there's a need right now for it, simply because we do have kind of Insomniac kind of diving into that heavy focus of a superhero style, and Spider-Man 1, 2, and Miles Morales were critically appraised, and they are incredible games. And Wolverine finally has been shown, and that's coming out next year, so I don't know if Infamous makes the most sense. I mean, as much as I would love to dive back into it, and they are different from Spider-Man and Wolverine, don't get me wrong, I just don't think there's a need for it. So the only things that would make sense is to either do Sly or Ghost. I think, let me rephrase. I believe that Sly Cooper is a perfect lineup to come back. Astrobot did tremendously well a couple years back, when it released, won Game of the Year. I know a lot of people still have, their own opinions on that. That was a phenomenal game in every aspect. It is a incredible game. If you haven't played it, I would definitely recommend it. Yes, is it for kids? Sure. However, I do think adults would probably appreciate that game significantly more, because it is just such a beautiful nostalgic trip to be on. I mean, some of the characters you come across, seeing them again, the beauty of it's just such a nostalgic trip and taken through memory lane. And you know, Sly Cooper is one of those big IPs when I was growing up and back in the 2000s, the earlys, and it was a huge success. Sly 1 and 2 were critically acclaimed, 2 reinvented the wheel, and for me personally, it impacted, you know, the way I think I fell in love with like open world stealth oriented games. You know, Dishonored, Assassin's Creed, anything like that, I fallen in love with more and more. And I do always thank Sly Cooper for giving me that, because that was the game I spent the most amount of hours in growing up. I mean, I truly played that for hours and hours and hours, replaying it, exploring. I loved Sly Cooper. Like, I absolutely loved it. I've played the original trilogy, the PS3 remaster, the PS5 PS2 classic ports, I guess you can say, and Thieves in Time. I've played every single one. I've platted every single one. I'm a huge diehard fan for this franchise, and I think exploring Sly Cooper again. Now, I don't know if we'll get a remake or a sequel. That's what I can't really tell. I think a remake of the trilogy would impact a little bit better, simply because newcomers of the franchise, the people who grew up who love Sly Cooper, maybe people who never got around to him, I think would be more interested and excited to play a trilogy. I mean, we've seen Crash Bandicoot, the original trilogy, get remastered, and it did incredibly well, so much well that it got 2 sequels, essentially. Well, really 1 sequel and then a spin-off game. And then Spyro also got a trilogy remaster, which also did extremely well. So I do think Sly Cooper would be a huge character to dive back into and to actually continue on with a story. Again, I don't know if Sucker Punch is the one to make it. I have no idea what will happen. But it's really nice to see that this character is getting a lot of talking attention lately. I mean, consistently. So, you know, hopefully there's something that may happen with that. I do think it would benefit tremendously for the fans, for newcomers. I just think it's a perfect time to bring a returning character that was such a big mascot during the early PlayStation era. So, you know, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I rambled on for too long. Let me know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you think he should stay unfortunately dead, or if you think that the franchise should actually get a revival in some sort. And if you do agree with a revival of some sort, which would you want to see? A remake of the original trilogy, maybe even a reboot, or a sequel, because Thieves in Time did leave off on a ginormous cliffhanger that was never answered. There's a lot of avenues it can go. I just think personally a remake makes the most impactful sense. But again, you know, let me know what y'all think. Let me know if there's other characters you want to see returning, maybe in a remake of some sort or anything. Let me know any topic on what you consider. Again, I'm going to be starting to do this. I'm kind of focusing on this kind of channel, this kind of content to give you guys, talking about video games and reviews and everything like that. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what videos you may want. Pop them in the comments if you have any ideas that you want me to go and dive into. I'll be more than happy to do that. Again, if you guys like the video, please like, subscribe for more content that shows me that I am being engaged with and that you guys are wanting to see more. So hopefully everyone is staying safe, and again, stay immersive.